Hello everybody, my name's Elliot and I'm from hahagarden.com. Today we're going to show you what you need as a beginner. So first and foremost, do you want to plant flowers or do you want to plant green? If you want to plant flowers, then what you need is this kit from in our shop, Haha Garden. Okay, but for seriousness, for flowers, do you want it to be outdoor or indoor? For greens, do you want it to be outdoor, indoor, small or big? You can also buy a kit in our store right there. I heard a new term from one of my customers last week called plant serial killer. Basically some people can't plant anything, whether it be flower, greens or melon. Planting is not hard. You just need to treat them like how you treat your kids and pets. You need to give them a proper room. So in this case for plants, you need to give them a big enough pot. You need to feed them. So in this case for planting, you need to water them. So sometimes you need to take a shower. So the plants also need to take a shower because the leaves can develop dust. So you just wipe it off. Second, you need to give your kids supplements, which in this case for plants is different types of fertilizers depending on the plant. So it could be melons, flowers, whatever. Next, you need to give them medicine because if your kid is sick, you give them medicine or treat them or go to the doctor. In this case, we use pesticides stuff. Now, you also need to trim. Sometimes you need to take a haircut or trim your hair. It's the same for plants as well. You just need to trim the thing and then you need to educate them. In this case, educate them as in tell them where to grow. You can see here we've asked this plant to grow out like this. So it's no mess back here, but it's going like that. So basically, this plant we've taught it that it can grow anywhere because we've hung it onto a thing. So it grows everywhere here, right? Also, the last two plants are the same type of plant. So you see how we educate them. It doesn't really matter about what type of flowers. It just flowers or greens. It just depends on how you educate them. Anyway, okay. So I'm going to show you what you need as a beginner. Now let's say that you want to grow some veggies. You of course need ZA seeds. You can see all of the seeds we have in our shop. Let me put these away. Now next you need the little seedling pot to put it in. Then you of course need a seedling mix. So you can see here. Now this tray is a vegetable tray, so of course you'll need that for when they grow up. Then you need a fertilizer. Now there's different types of fertilizers, so we're going to be focusing on the vegetable fertilizer because that's what we're trying to use because we're trying to plant veggies. Anyway. And we have some pesticides just in case, of course. We've got many different other gardening tools. We've of course need the trowels, so you can dig up the soil and put it stuff. We've got clean and sharp scissors. You can use any scissors, but I recommend you use sharp and clean ones. Anyways, you've got gloves, of course, because if you're handling pesticides and soil, then of course you need some gloves. You need these gardening labels. They are lifesaver. Now, what gardening labels are used for is to see to tell you what are you planting, when did you plant it, and maybe you want to track other stuff like when did you put in the fertilizer, when did you put in the pesticides and other jazz like that. So you can all write it down here. Now these are special type of markers. These are called gardening permanent markers. The reason why you do not use regular markers or regular permanent markers is because both permanent and regular markers will fade in the sunlight and get washed away in the rain, where the gardening permanent marker will not fade in the sun and can withstand harsh weathers. So you need to use that. Also, there might be other toxins in the regular markers. Okay, and you also need sprinkler. You've seen us use this many times. Just spray like that. Boom. There's a lot of different types of gardening tools. There's small ones, medium-sized ones, and big ones. All of them different handles, different prices, and different looks. So it all comes down to your personal preference and your budget. Anyways, I think this is it for today's video. I hope you enjoyed. Goodbye.